And what if I told you that God once used just 300 men to defeat an army of over 135,000? Impossible, right? Not when God is the one fighting the battle. Welcome to Bible Stories Explained. Today, we're exploring the incredible story of Gideon in Judges 7, how God took a weak, fearful man, stripped away his army, and showed that true victory comes not from human strength, but from his power. The Israelites were living under the constant oppression of their enemies, the Midianites. Every harvest season, the Midianites and their army would attack. They would steal the Israelites' crops, take their livestock, burn their fields, and destroy their towns. This went on for years, and after each raid, the Israelites became more discouraged and hopeless. One day, Gideon was hiding in a winepress trying to protect his father's inheritance of grain. He was desperately hoping that the Midianites wouldn't find out about his hard-earned harvest. Suddenly, an angel of the Lord appeared in front of him. The angel said, "Mighty warrior, the Lord is with you." Gideon responded in fear, "Oh my Lord, if the Lord is with us, why then has all this misfortune come upon us? What has happened to my family? Why has Midian destroyed us? Where are you, God?" The angel replied, "I am the Lord. I raised you up to deliver Israel from the power of Midian." Gideon answered, "But sir, how can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my family." The angel of the Lord said to him, "I will be with you, and you will defeat the Midianites as if you were fighting against a single man." Gideon then replied, "If now I have found favor in your eyes, please confirm it for me. Oh my Lord, by the test you just performed, send, I pray, the fleece back into the ground. It was soaked when I first took it out, and it has become dry now. Do that again." And God did it that night. The fleece was again soaked with water. Then Gideon realized that he really had found favor with God, so he worshipped God with an altar and named it the Lord my God. Next, Gideon gathered 32,000 men to fight the Midianites. But God said to Gideon, "You have too many men. If you win, you will boast that your own strength saved you. But now kill all except 300 men who lapped water with their tongues like dogs." So Gideon dismissed 300 of the men, and those men left dejected and thirsty. Then he led the 300 men to the river and gave them a big drink. After they drank, he made them lie down beside the river and watch as the other soldiers drank. Now 270 of the 300 men Gideon had chosen watched the others drinking, while they left to go back to their camps. But Gideon chose 300 warriors who were eager to fight. Later that day, God spoke to Gideon and said, "It is time to attack. You and your 300 men are about to defeat the Midianite army. I will deliver Midian into your hands." That night, Gideon and his 300 men surrounded the Midianite camp. Gideon divided his 300 men into 3 companies. Each man held a trumpet and a torch and a sword. Then they got ready to sneak into the camp quietly and secretly. Gideon then signaled his troops to blow their trumpets, smash the jars and shout, "For the Lord and for Gideon." As the 300 Israelites blew their trumpets, God caused each man in the Midianite army to turn on his neighbor and strike his friend, while the other men fled. Not knowing what to do, the Midianites cried out and ran away. They kept running all night until daybreak. The 300 men surrounded and defeated the entire army. Not a single man was left behind. Gideon pursued the Midianite army as far as the mountain pass, leading to the plains of Beth Shittim and Selah. The next morning, the men of Israel gathered together. They pursued the Midianites, each man against his brother, each man against his relative, chasing them until they reached the borders of Moab. The people captured Oreb and Zeb, 2 of Midian's chiefs, and killed them. Then every man went his way. Gideon returned home. During that time, he rebuilt Israel and had peace throughout the land. He remained in office as Israel's leader for 40 years. Eventually, Gideon died and was buried next to his ancestors in his hometown. And there you have it, the incredible story of Gideon. Why did God choose Gideon? Honestly, Gideon was just a regular guy. You know, he thought he was the weakest in his family and part of the weakest tribe of Israel. But God chose Gideon because he wanted to show that when people are weak, he can be strong. He chose Gideon to show that he can use anyone he wants to do whatever he wants. Why did God tell Gideon to release 32,000 soldiers? God wanted to show Gideon that he and his soldiers weren't going to win because of their numbers, their weapons, or their strength. Winning the battle wasn't up to them. It was completely up to God. Why did God tell Gideon to arm his men with trumpets, jars, and torches? These were everyday items that didn't look like weapons. Gideon and his 300 men didn't look strong or ready to fight. But when God planned to win the battle, these ordinary items became powerful weapons. Why did Gideon start scared? But later he trusted God to help him. Even though Gideon was afraid, he listened to God and followed his instructions. As he did what God told him to do, he became less afraid and more confident. Now, let's move on to section 3, life application. Are you like Gideon? Do you sometimes feel too small, too weak, or not good enough to do something big for God? Remember, God sees you differently than the world does. God sees your heart and how you want to serve Him. You can trust God to give you everything you need to do whatever He asks. Don't trust in numbers. When Gideon felt like he was the weakest in his family and his army was the smallest, that's when God reminded him that He was with him. Sometimes when things look impossible and you feel like you don't have enough, that's when God wants you to trust Him the most. Obedience unlocks victory. When Gideon chose 300 soldiers, gave them simple weapons, and attacked the Midianites at night, he trusted God even more. That's when he won the biggest victory of his life. When you obey God and do what He tells you to do, no matter how hard it seems, God helps you to succeed. Faith grows step by step. Gideon started out afraid, but he wasn't afraid forever. As he took small steps of obedience, his faith grew bigger and bigger. You can trust God to help you take small steps every day, so you can do big things for Him. Remember, your weakness is God's opportunity. Where in your life are you relying on numbers or strength instead of God? What weakness could God be asking you to surrender so He can show His power? Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Bible Stories Explained. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button below. Subscribe to get notified when new videos are released. And now, here's a fun fact. Did you know that the number 300 is significant in the Bible? In Judges chapter 7, when God chose 300 men for Gideon's army, it symbolized that victory didn't depend on numbers or strength, but on God's power. Similarly, in 2 Chronicles chapter 30, when Hezekiah needed 300,000 men for the Passover celebration, it represented a spiritual awakening and a turning point for Judah. The number 300 often signifies completeness, effectiveness, and divine selection. So until next time, remember that God can do more with 300 people who trust Him than with thousands who don't. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.